This video is on how to clean the Wilson Combat EDC X9. There's multiple variants of this handgun. This video will apply to the other variants as well. To get started, you'll need a few things: a nylon brush specific for gun cleaning, a bronze bore brush, a brass jag, CLP, gun oil, cotton swabs with an angled tip, a microfiber gun cleaning rag, a cleaning rod, a bore snake, and cleaning patches. And last but not least, nitrile gloves. I'll leave links to all of these items in the video description below. Always start out with a clear and empty weapon, meaning no ammunition, but of course we're going to double check. Keep your finger off the trigger and keep it pointed in a safe direction. Locate the magazine release. Press it and drop the magazine. Now clear the chamber. To do that, locate the slide stop. Push up on the slide stop as you're pulling the slide back to its rearmost position, and you'll feel the slide stop lock into place. I can see that there's no magazine inserted and there's no ammunition in the chamber. We are 100% clear and safe. Press down on the slide stop and guide the slide back to its original position. Now take a look at this takedown notch right here. Now turn the gun to the other side and look at the other side of the slide stop. It looks like a button sticking out of the frame. Pull the slide back and line up that takedown notch to this part of the slide stop. Right here. Now press that button, which is the right side of the slide stop, causing the slide stop to pop out just a little bit, and continue pulling it out of the frame. Continue removing the slide from the frame and be careful not to let the recoil spring pop out as you're pulling the slide off. Press the recoil spring assembly from chamber end to muzzle end and pull it out. Remove the reverse plug. Some people call it a recoil spring plug, but it's actually called the reverse plug. Move the barrel link towards the muzzle end and remove the barrel from the slide. And that's as far as you need to go for a basic field strip. You have the frame, the slide, the recoil spring assembly, the barrel, the reverse plug, the slide stop, and the magazine. You don't have to clean these parts in any particular order. Today I'm going to start with the barrel. Add CLP to the nylon brush and start scrubbing all surfaces on the outside of the barrel. Use the smaller end of the nylon brush to get into the harder to reach areas. Be sure to clean the feed ramp really well. You want to make sure that's totally clean so that ammunition feeds freely into the chamber. I noticed a stubborn spot on the feed ramp that wouldn't come off with a nylon brush, so I'm going to use the bronze bore brush to clean it up a little bit. Attach the bronze bore brush to the cleaning rod. Add a little CLP. I'm only going to push the bore brush through in one direction, from chamber end to muzzle end, because it doesn't make any sense to push the dirt out and pull it right back in. Kind of like sweeping the floor. You wouldn't just sweep back and forth because you would just spread dust everywhere. You sweep in one general direction. So I push the bore brush through, I remove the bore brush, I pull the cleaning rod out, and I start the process over again. There's no specific number of times you need to do this. It really depends on how much you've been shooting. In this case, I'm just going to push it through a few times and move on. Now attach the jag to the cleaning rod. You can use plastic or nylon, but I prefer brass. Add CLP to a cleaning patch. Wrap it around the jag. And just like the bore brush, we're going to only push it through in one direction, from chamber end to muzzle end. So the first patch will come out dirty like that. Continue running patches through until they start to come out clean. Sometimes it only takes a few, sometimes it takes more. This one looks clean enough for me. Time to move on. I'm just going to take a look at the weight on the bore snake, and it should say 38, which is the correct size for a 9mm size bore. Drop the weight into the chamber and pull it out through the muzzle end. You only need to pull the bore snake through once or twice and you should be good. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but this is why I use a bore snake. It looks perfectly clean inside. There's not even a speck of dirt or lint. It looks smooth as glass, and the rifling looks perfect. This is a step I would never skip. I recommend using a bore snake every time you clean. I'm going to add gun oil to a clean cotton swab and leave a light protective coating over the entire barrel. I'm going to make sure I get into the barrel link area. You can add a drop of oil directly onto that area, but I prefer to use a cotton swab just to prevent oversaturating. Make sure that barrel link moves freely. If not, just add some more lubrication, but that looks pretty good. The bore should be dry. You don't need any residual COP or gun oil in there unless it's going to be in storage. Everything else has a light protective coating on it. Looks totally clean. Nothing's oversaturated. That looks pretty good, so it's time to move on to the next part. Now I'm going to start on the recoil spring. Go ahead and take out the guide rod. Add CLP to the nylon brush and start scrubbing in between the coils. Go ahead and remove the shock buff and continue cleaning the guide rod. I'm going to wipe off the shock buff and put it back on the guide rod. Put the recoil spring back onto the guide and move on to the next part. The reverse plug's very easy. Just use CLP and the brush to clean it. Use the small end of the nylon brush to get inside the plug. After using the nylon brush, add CLP to a clean cotton swab and clean inside the plug. Now wipe it off and you're done with this piece. The slide stop's also quick and easy to clean. Just add CLP and scrub it down. Wipe off the excess CLP. Now add a little gun oil to anything that shows signs of metal wear. And that's all for the slide stop. Before you clean the slide, I want to show you a part that you need to avoid leaking CLP or gun oil into. That's going to be the breech face. You do have to clean it well, but try to avoid leaking CLP or gun oil into that little hole that the firing pin comes out of. If it happens too often, it could slow down the firing pin over time. Add CLP to the nylon brush and start scrubbing all surfaces inside and out, and just go light around the area that I just showed you. But if you think you might leak CLP down into that firing pin channel, just hold the slide facing down as you clean it. Scrub the rails really well, make sure those are totally clean so that the slide operates smoothly when it's on the frame. Use the small end of the nylon brush to get behind the extractor. That's this little piece next to the breech face that looks kind of like a hook. Now wipe off any excess CLP. After you've loosened up all the dirt with a nylon brush, add CLP to a clean cotton swab and clean it in fine detail. The first few cotton swabs will come out really dirty. Just continue changing cotton swabs until they start to come out clean. I'm going very light on the CLP around the breech face area, but I am going to be thorough with a cotton swab. Wipe off any excess CLP. I'm going to add a medium coat of gun oil to the rails and anything else that shows signs of metal wear. As I was cleaning, I transferred a little bit of CLP from my gloves onto the slide, so I'm just going to wipe off the excess CLP. Give it one final look. That looks pretty good, and I'm done with the slide. Now start on the frame, add CLP to the nylon brush, and start scrubbing all surfaces inside and out. And yes, you do want to clean the grips also, unless you don't mind getting lead contaminants on your hand every time you pick up your gun. But we are going to make sure these grips are totally dry before we're done. There'll be nothing oily or slippery on anything that we need to grab onto. Wipe off all the excess CLP from the outside of the frame, and the best way to get the CLP off of the grips is just wrap a rag around them and squeeze. To remove the excess CLP from inside the magazine well, wrap a rag around the brush and use that to get inside through the bottom and through the top. Just go kind of easy on the top, there's some more intricate parts there. After you've loosened up all the dirt with a nylon brush, add CLP to a clean cotton swab, and clean the frame in fine detail. Just like we did on the slide, we're going to make sure these rails are completely clean. Try not to forget the inside of the skeletonized hammer. That's one of these parts that's easy to forget, but sometimes it gets kind of dirty. Wipe off the excess CLP, add gun oil to a clean cotton swab, and add a medium coat of lube to the rails and anything else that shows signs of metal wear. I'm going to give it one final wipe down, make sure nothing's dripping off of it, nothing's oversaturated. These G10 grips are completely clean and completely dry. The inside of the magazine is also clean and dry, and that looks pretty good. You don't need to disassemble the magazine every time you clean unless you dropped it in mud, dirt, or sand or something like that. If you do, I really don't think you need a video to show you how to do it. It's pretty easy. Just press that button at the bottom of the base plate. The base plate slides off, the spring and follower come out. Clean everything with CLP, wipe it completely dry. You don't need to have anything wet. Put it back together the same way it came apart. In this case, I just need to do a basic clean and wipe down. Go light on the CLP and be sure not to leak CLP down past this follower or into these witness holes. Or this hole here. If you leak CLP down into the magazine, it's just going to attract dirt. So add a little CLP to the brush and start scrubbing. Or you can add CLP to the rag and wipe it down that way if you prefer. Now wipe off any excess CLP. There's no need to leave this part lubricated. One final inspection. Everything looks clean and dry. I'm satisfied with that. Now it's time to reassemble. Grab the slide. Now grab the barrel and make sure the barrel link is pointed towards the muzzle end. Reinsert the barrel into the slide. Make sure you got proper lockup like that. Now move the barrel link back towards the chamber end. Reinstall the reverse plug. Make sure the shock buff and the guide rod match up correctly right here. Reinsert the open end of the recoil spring muzzle end first. I moved my barrel link as I was fumbling with it, so I'm going to move that back. Once the recoil spring's back into position, it should look just like this. Line up the rails on the slide with the rails on the frame. Start pulling the slide back onto the frame and just push up on the recoil spring to make sure it doesn't come out of place. Now, much like when we disassembled it, line up the takedown notch to this position here. As you're holding that position, reinsert the slide stop. Now go easy on this part here. You don't want to scratch anything with the slide stop. So once the slide stop's in position, I'm going to start pulling the slide back. As I'm doing that, I'm going to press the slide stop a little bit and it's going to pop into place. When the slide stop is installed correctly, I should be able to turn it over and see that button protruding from the frame. Let's do a function check. Pull the trigger, but don't release it. Keep holding the trigger. Now work the slide. Release the trigger, you should hear it reset. Pull it again and the hammer should drop. Let's make sure it locks back on an empty magazine. So insert an empty magazine. When I pull the slide back, it should lock back on its own without me using the slide stop. If it does, everything's good. Clean your EDC X9 after every use, regardless of round count. If you have it in storage, clean it once a year. If you carry it every day, clean it at least every 6 months. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, subscribe to my channel and visit skullcrush.com.